Tell me what you see.
I look at you and tell you what I feel. Look at me and tell me what you see. I look at you and tell you what I feel.
What's up, everybody? Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming here, and yes, I am here with Evil Dead Hail to the King. Now, I tried to borrow my cousin's capture card, but for some reason it would not capture Evil Dead. I do have the PS1 version. I've showed it on camera, when I showed my PS2 games, but this is a PS1 game, but it goes in line with the Evil Dead games. Now, the reason why you're seeing it, I'm using it on his computer with a combination of a USB PlayStation controller and the PlayStation mouse, which I will tell you why that helps extremely well. But as much as I like this game, and I do like it, don't get me wrong, there are just so many things wrong with it. And look, before you get your shotguns and your chainsaws aimed at me, I'm going to tell you why. Like I said, I'm a fan of the Evil Dead. I even told you how much I love Fistful of Boomstick besides its problems. But if I told you this game has even more problems than Fistful of Boomstick, you're probably going to wonder, well, John, why is it still worth going through? Because if you're a Resident Evil fan, you will fit right at home with this game. This is basically an Evil Dead version of Resident Evil. Obviously, you can see from item management to how the game looks, to fixed camera angles, to the tank controls. But what sets this apart from a normal Resident Evil clone is that as much as it's inspired by Resident Evil, it goes against Resident Evil's form. And that is because this is more of an action game than it is a survival horror game. You are always in constant combat. The game constantly drops you items to help you out. Now, that would be fine if this was designed as more of a third-person action game, just like the other two. What you need to know is fixed camera controls don't mesh well with action. It doesn't go well with constant combat. I mean, as for the presentation, though, the game is split across 2 discs because it's faithful to the second movie, and then it goes in its own direction like Army of Darkness. Because it's another time travel story. You start off in the cabin. You start off right after the events of Evil Dead 2, just like Regeneration. But what makes this game a little bit different is the controls are very sensitive when it comes to interacting and picking up items. That's why I suggest if you're going to play this game, have a combination of a controller and a PlayStation mouse. Because if you just try to use the regular controller to try to pick up items with the interact button, it's not going to work properly for some reason. So it's almost like you have to use a combination of 2 types of control styles to even get through the game. And this game is not relatively long. If I told you how long this game takes, especially if you master it, it takes you 3.5 hours, both discs. But that's if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, this game will be a lot harder, and it will take a lot longer. I mean, you have little gimmicks of having to actually keep your chainsaw fueled in order to do different ammo. But the melee weapons are the only thing that do any kind of damage. Guns in this game, and yes, even the traditional boomstick, doesn't really have the stopping power that it should. And that's very off-putting for an Evil Dead game. I think what really saves this game is, yes, its presentation. It's good looking. It looks really good for the time, for it being one of those Resident Evil clones. The environments are ripped straight from the films, with new areas to have you explore outside the cabin. And then when you go across time during the creation, this is a cool thing, it's a cool detail, that you go back in time. You face Evil Ash during the time of the creation of the Necronomicon, and you even meet the creator of the Necronomicon. It's little things like that that are intriguing, that want to push you along. And like I said, as for combat, your best strategy, if you really want to know, is just use your melee weapons. Use your chainsaw and use your axe. Because all you have to do is just stand in place and just wail at an enemy. Just wail at an enemy. And when you think you're getting low on ammo, the game, I give it that. The game is very gracious. It's very... What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. Just know it drops you what you need at the time you need it. So you'll never feel underprepared. You will just feel surprised when things happen. Because enemies just come out of nowhere. They just really will come gunning for you. And it really disorients you because in a survival horror game, you're trying to acclimate yourself. You're basically trying to know your position and know what you can do and what you can't do in the scenario you should be getting in. But it's like in this game, when you go to a new screen or go to a new area, you just have a flood of enemies just coming your way, and they spawn one after the other, one after the other. And if I remember correctly, I think there's one. I think there is. I could be wrong. I haven't seen it, but I heard it's in the game. I just never found it or know the button to activate it. But there is a map, but that's the thing, I wouldn't have known if I didn't look it up myself. I didn't look up how to activate it. I just look up to confirm if there's one in the game, because oh yeah, there is one in the game. Even though I'm going back over to review my own damn footage, I see the fucking button right in the damn menu screen right there. But without the map, you're gonna get lost. Or hell, even with the map, everything is very maze-like. And again, it's supposed to fit that survival horror feel and vibe. But I guess Resident Evil is the only one that really got it down packed and got it perfect. Don't get me wrong. This game has a plethora of flubs. And I mean a plethora of flubs. But there's just something endearing about it. That the fact that it's faithful to its license. See, that's what I could say. Even if a game is good or bad, if it holds the spirit of what made the franchise or what was the core essence of the franchise, if it has its soul, then you know what? You're willing to bear with it. You're willing to push through the grind. And I will tell you, my first time playing this and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, it was a grind. But yet, I still kept going. And if you think they didn't care about this game or the developers didn't know Evil Dead, there's a fucking dedicated button for Ash to spit out one of his damn one-liners. And that's a tradition all the Evil Dead games seem to keep over. Except for the newer one, the multiplayer one that came out a couple months back. But Evil Dead, it does have a lot of potential. Hail to the King has a lot of potential. It's just that the areas where it should have ironed out that potential, they put focus in areas that already were pretty focused on. It's just like, I get it. You wanted the world of Evil Dead. You wanted this world to look just like the movies. You wanted Ash to be in these scenarios that he would be in. But, like I said, an action game and a survival horror game does not mix, and it does not blend well together. And I wish that there was more I mean, I'm an Evil Dead fan, and yes, of course I was going to push myself through this game, but I can tell you, for the casual collector or the casual gamer that's looking into playing old school games, this game may not be for you. Now, if you are a survival horror nut, or if you're an Evil Dead fan, then yes, this game will fit right at home. You will basically smooth right in, just with a little learning curve of knowing, okay, there's going to be enemies everywhere. I'm going to be in constant peril. I need to be on my toes at all times. If you go into it with that mindset, then you will survive it and you will not fail. But Evil Dead Hail to the King, though, in my opinion, it is still a classic despite the problems that you will have with it. And even if I was to rate this game, it would just be a moderate rating, somewhere in the middle, an average game at best. But for an Evil Dead fan and for a collector, I'd recommend you get it for yourself, if any way you can emulate it or get the original disc. Anyway, Zephyr John Kill 30 Gaming. Be sure to like, subscribe, favorite, and I'll see you all next time.